Hello, Lynelle.
Hello, Rob.
I can't do that for long.
No.
So this is so exciting. This is our first episode.
Yay!
Are we really related?
Are we? It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. Not much of a mystery since we did have the test done years and years ago.
Right.
It's we have known each other now a little over 13 years.
Wow.
And in one way, it's like, where in the hell did the time go? But in the other way, it's like, how has it only been 13 years?
How has it only? I know, because it almost feels like we've known each other
since we were kids.
Yeah.
You know, which leads to why we sometimes do our little. Do you remember?
Do you remember? Yeah.
But,
and why we get the roll eyes from everybody, like, oh God, here they go again.
Well, to start off, I'm Rob.
I'm Lynelle.
And we are half brother and sister.
Yeah.
I'm her brother from another mother.
Yeah.
And you're my sister from the same mister.
Yeah.
And we are doing this podcast because we've kept our friends and family entertained over the years with our shenanigans, and we felt like everybody else should get a chance.
Everybody should, right?
And so you are surely by now thousands of listeners are getting the very first one.
Yeah,
the very first
spreading
episode.
the word.
And spreading the word. Please spread the word. If you like this and you think you know somebody else who will, I mean, you don't have a lot to go on now, but as we do this.
As we develop more.
As we develop.
Yeah.
We are both fairly new to podcasting.
Yeah.
And so we'll have some hiccups and just things that will happen that we weren't expecting or weren't counting on, and we'll smooth those out as we go along, one would hope.
Yep.
With our fabulous whiteboard here, we've done the intro now, and then I thought we'd go into a week recap, or however often we do these, recap since the last one. So have you done anything fun in the last week or so? Anything really?
Since the last time I've seen you. Wow. That's a lot.
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks. It's funny how the 2 weeks was to this week, but that's inside information there. But no, I've done. Anywho, just working. Yeah, working and waiting for the weekend so we could work on this and get together and go out to dinner.
Yeah, we're going out to dinner tonight to a place. It's not new, but it's a place that my wife and I haven't been to in 20 years at least.
Oh, and it's probably been that or more for me.
Right.
Probably 25.
We all like seafood, and it's really hard in landlocked Roanoke Valley to find good seafood, but we've got high hopes for this place.
Yeah.
It gets good reviews. Of course, that's reviews from people around here who have probably never had real seafood.
That's
either,
right.
So.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, they got the best fried shrimp. Like, that's all there is in the world.
Just plates and plates of it.
What about you? Did you do anything fun in the last couple of weeks?
Well, last week, Enos and I we finally got our 30th anniversary tattoo.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I showed you a picture of it. It looks a lot better now. I'm not disrobing, I promise. I'm just pulling my pants leg up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Still stings.
Still stings.
But this color is a lot better. It was orange before when we first took the picture. But it's a darker green here and a lighter green there.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe I'll take a picture of this and it can be posted as part of
That's what I was thinking.
Notes, so,
part of our, yeah.
So, and we do need to get a better picture of the two of us. A more recent picture of the two of them. This is, I don't think we're planning to just gratuitously curse on this, but we're also not going to hold back. So this is not a, this is not something for children.
Correct.
Because we might throw an F-bomb in here and there, and we'll
unless you're into that and your kids are cussing, then
I mean,
by all means, let them listen.
Like people are a little too, The great thing about getting older is when you're in the middle of a sentence and you know exactly what you want to say, and then the words just sort of go. Boop.
Yes.
Think of the word you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, plenty of children
is what's happening right now, right?
I'm scrambling.
I'm
scrambling to come up with. So
we're not going to purposely every other word come out vulgar, but it might happen from time to time. So we want you to be aware
more often
of.
Than others, if we're talking about work, like how's work this week?
Oh God, yeah. You want to hear some cussing?
Oh yeah. So.
Okay.
Well, the next thing I had on here is the big one. It's been a couple of weeks now, but we really haven't had a chance to unpack it yet. But somebody kind of close to you died recently, didn't they?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I feel like that was a brother from another mother.
That you'd never met.
That I've never met.
Never knew you were alive.
And a different father.
And a different father.
So, we're not even really related.
Right. Not really.
Not really.
Technically, no.
Yeah. Rest his soul. But yeah, Matthew Perry.
And who is Matthew Perry for the one listener that might not know?
Well, the one listener doesn't know anything about him, or that he was Chandler on Friends
Chandler
for 10 years.
That was a big sudden.
And everyone knows, or will know, how big of a fan I am.
Yes.
Of the Friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
How many different ways do you have now of being able to watch Friends episodes?
Oh gosh. A lot. I don't miss them. And I've been watching them since year one, like 1994.
And you pretty much...
I'm not the, I'm the OG of the Friends fans.
Right.
Not these newcomers that are millennials. That everybody's into it,
right.
Like, of all ages. But I'm like, I need you to know I'm the original.
I was
the first one. Now, my daughter would have been Chandler, but she was a girl. Still could have been Chandler.
Yeah,
but.
I mean, that's kind of a...
Yeah.
I mean, right now, the world knows Chandler as a male.
Yeah.
But it could easily be a neutral name.
Easily.
So were you a fan from, like, the first episode? Did you see that first episode and go, oh, my God, I've got to...
Well, yeah. It was... The reason I was a fan was because of Chandler, because I've watched all his... sitcoms or his cameos he did in sitcoms up to that. So I was always a fan of him and thought, God, this guy, why is he not getting
more recognition? And then
yeah.
Friends comes along.
And I'm like, oh, I'll be watching that episode.
I mean, I didn't know anything about any of them. I literally didn't know anything about any of them. Although, I mean, was who played Monica?
Courtney
Cox. Yeah. Had she already been in movies before Friends?
She had done something, and they had all done these like little things. And then her claim to fame for, being famous or whatever was she was in that video of Bruce Springsteen on MTV.
Right. That's right.
And now I'm drawing a blank on Born in the USA?
It wasn't Born in the USA. Wasn't it I'm on Fire?
Maybe I'm on Fire.
Yeah. Or...
But anyway, she was in that music video.
Okay. And I had seen the guy who played Joey. Mm-hmm. I can't think of his name.
Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc. He had been on Married with Children.
Really?
He was on one episode of Married with Children. He was like a boyfriend of the daughter.
Christina Applegate.
Yeah, Christina Applegate. Was she Kelly on
Kelly.
that show?
Yeah.
So he was an episode there, and I can kind of picture the episode, but the only thing I remember was he was talking about something and went off on a tangent, and then he said, but I digest, meaning, but I digress, but he said,
right.
But I digest, and I thought that was kind of funny, and so when I saw that he was on the show Friends, I recognized him.
Oh, okay.
And, I mean, we liked the show, and I guess we watched it. It was kind of like Seinfeld for us. We weren't slaves to the show. We didn't make sure we were in front of the TV. But, I mean, my wife and I, we are always in front of the TV at some time. We don't do a whole lot. So those shows would come on, and we'd just have them on, and they were funny. And we
I don't know what made me so obsessed with it, like still to this day.
Well, you've got that kind of personality.
I know, really?
You get obsessed by things pretty quickly.
Okay, there you go.
See, all kinds of secrets come out of this show. I see that now.
Interesting.
But, so he died, I guess that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And kind of a shocking, sudden death. He'd been battling demons for a while, and I haven't read if if they've said what the cause of death was, but
I think they've just gotten the
toxicology
result.
report.
Yeah, and that's all I've heard today.
Yeah,
but we're hoping it wasn't anything like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, he had been.
I mean, he's just getting ready to take on a new role and stuff, so you don't know what happened.
What I understand, he had been playing pickleball.
For a couple of hours
earlier that day, and he got home. He went to the hot tub. He asked his assistant to go get something, and when I think came back, she found him unresponsive in the hot tub.
Yeah,
and
so sad.
Yeah, unable to do anything.
Yeah.
So, what was the first celebrity death that affected you?
Oh God.
Can you remember back that far?
Can I remember back?
We're old people. We're old.
We are old. I mean, if you want to go way back, I mean, we could go back as far as Elvis. Yeah.
That wasn't the
that I can remember. Yeah. I don't know how it affected me because I'm a kid.
Yeah.
But I do remember the impact on especially women, and how the fans were.
He was set to play in Rona that weekend or very soon before he died. And so it was a big deal. For me, I think even the year before that, I as a kid, I was a Yankees fan. And they had a player, Thurman Munson. I think, gosh, I'd have to look it up, but I think he was the catcher. And he was a pretty popular Yankee. Think of like Derek Jeter in the 90s and early 2000s.
Right.
He was that level of people thought about the Yankees. They thought about
was he a
Thurman
shortstop
Munson.
also? Or?
No, he was a catcher.
Okay.
And I think he was a catcher. Pretty sure he was a catcher. I mean, he had commercials and stuff. And he died. I think he was flying a plane, a small prop engine plane, and it crashed, and he died. But probably and this wasn't really a nationally known person, but when I was in the 4th or the 5th grade, one of our local TV station newsmen died, and he was probably in his 40s, maybe his 50s, and I remember just everybody in school talking about it the next day.
Who was that?
I can't remember his name.
Okay.
He was just a local celebrity. He wasn't anywhere on the national level, although he may have eventually been able to. I think he was a weather person, but I don't know for sure. That was so long ago.
Right.
But I do remember that everybody was talking about it the next day in school, and as a 8 or 9 year old kid, I'm like, gosh, he lived a pretty good long life though. And everybody was like, no, 40s, 50s. I mean, to me, that's
Could you
old.
Imagine now if we thought that was a long?
No. I'm at the point where I don't even think really 80 is all that.
No, me neither. Right?
We're not anywhere near that yet, but
that's why the Matthew Perry, being 54, I'm like, I'm almost 54,
and
that was another thing.
I just turned 58, so that's like it's always weird when somebody famous on that level younger than you dies. And so I mean I think about just all of the young and old, all of the celebrities that have died over the years, and I mean
you keep thinking, damn, there's not a cure for that yet.
Yeah.
That's what I keep thinking.
Sudden death. There's no cure for drug addictions that waste you away.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, do you remember when Michael Jackson died?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Michael Jackson died, and Farrah Fawcett Majors died the same day, and nobody remembers that because Michael Jackson sucked all of the energy out of the room because he died, and nobody else.
Sucks. She couldn't even get her own day.
I know.
I mean, rest in peace. But yeah.
Yeah. And,
yeah.
I mean, there's.
And then Prince. That was kind of like shocking. A shocking thing too. It's like no way.
And Tom Petty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His dying was a real shock too.
It was for me.
And then I mean, there's always the deaths that take you by surprise, but then you find out that person had been battling cancer or some other disease for years but hadn't told anybody. Right. Well, I don't know if we want to go into the song now, or do we want to keep...
Did we cover our good meals made?
Well, have you made any good meals?
Yes, because I'm wanting to write a recipe book.
Right.
Cookbook.
A cookbook.
A cookbook. A recipe book. Take that out. That might be the one beer talking.
Oh, no.
Is that the one beer talking?
No, it's recipe book from now on.
I might even title it that.
When you call it recipe book, I just think of the Waltons and the two little old ladies who were the moonshiners.
Yeah.
They called it the
Recipe. Yeah. You never know what'll be in it. What'll be in the book.
Did you like the Waltons?
I did.
When it was on?
I did love the Waltons.
Did you ever see? I think the Waltons started with that Christmas movie. Did you ever see that Christmas movie?
I saw the Christmas movie. And then it took off. You mean like a series after that? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the case. So,
yeah.
Fact check. God damn it, we still don't have a fact check.
Still don't have that.
But for now, that's.
We just don't have that third person sitting over there looking it all up for us.
You just can't find good help these days.
No, you cannot.
But
yes, I did make some good meals. Last night I made chicken parmesan.
Okay. It
was very good.
But,
and we got our Thanksgiving feast coming up.
We've got our I cannot believe Thanksgiving is less than 2 weeks away.
I know.
Holy Hannah.
We're going to have food out the wazoo.
Yeah.
People are bringing everything.
Well, let's talk about that. I'm going to make the turkey.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
Because your husband likes my macaroni and cheese for
Definitely.
some reason.
Sarah does too. My daughter. Yeah.
I kind of like it, but I'm partial.
It is good.
And I'm going to make stuffing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, dressing, because I don't stuff the turkey.
Right.
I've never really liked the stuffing that comes from inside the turkey.
Yeah, shoving something in the carcass.
Yeah, I'd rather bake it in a dish.
Yeah. Or its neck, whatever.
I don't need turkey butt.
Yeah.
Turkey butt sides.
Although that's how our moms did it, and it was great.
It was great. You just wonder, was it always?
Yeah,
all
was
the way
it?
through? Let's see. I'll make some homemade cranberry sauce.
And gravy.
Gravy, yeah. And then you're gonna bring.
I'm gonna do a dessert. I wanted to do a new pumpkin dessert, and I got this weird look from Sarah. So I'm also bringing pumpkin pie.
Right.
Because there has to be pumpkin pie, regardless. And a tub of Cool Whip.
Yeah.
Deviled eggs, ham, and something else I'm bringing. Oh, corn casserole.
Corn casserole.
Yeah.
And
that's a new one for me, so it's going to be an experiment for everybody.
All right. Well,
eat it and like it. Or critique it.
No promises. I'll critique it when you have nothing easily throwable nearby. And yeah, it's a good thing we're going to have a lot of food because we're going to have a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're going to have to bring out the card table.
At least 11 people.
Yeah, 11.
Maybe.
So it'll be 11.
Okay.
I think because us 4 and then your daughter and her posse.
Yeah.
There's another 3 and then your nephew and his husband.
Yep. And then my stepson and his girlfriend and...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that rounds it out to 11. Yes.
Right.
Okay. All right.
It'll be fun times.
I hope so.
You know, the holidays are always... Are you ever on edge or like wondering, is everybody going to behave? Or I think our group is good.
Yeah.
I'm just having PTSD from childhood.
Oh,
probably.
I mean, not even my childhood. The last 10 years or so of when my mom was around.
Yeah.
My mom was around.
Yeah.
And she, the dementia that she had was slowly progressing. And, even before that, going over, they would have Thanksgiving and then they would host Christmas. And Mom it was always a crapshoot. We'd go over there. More often than not, she was fine. But every once in a while, we'd get over there either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and you could just tell she was in a mood.
Yeah, like a meltdown.
Very close to it.
Right.
And a few times, she was able to turn it around, and everything was fine. And a few times, everything looked fine, and then she was able to turn that around and make it into a really awkward. Well, I think it's time for us to go. You just got here. I know. I feel like
We've
really
got another dinner to go to.
We've
got this thing
that's not unpleasant. I mean, I'm going to walk on coal. I think that's going to be
even easier than this.
Than this is right now. So. But yeah, so and then gosh, Christmas is just around the corner.
Wow.
And in the meantime,
so we're going to have to do like a holiday episode.
Yeah, I think.
We'll wear Santa hats. Can we get jingle bells?
Oh, sure.
You know, some
just have the
in the
annoying
background.
bells
Yeah,
ringing the whole time.
Santa himself might show up.
We'll definitely have a Thanksgiving episode because y'all will be here.
Yeah, we'll be here. We can.
You might be staying overnight,
right? And we can get everybody in here and
maybe at the end, just say Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And, I mean,
then like get the hell out. It's our podcast.
You have overstayed your welcome. So we'll do that.
Yeah, I think it'd be good too to have. I guess if we ever are live at some point, or I don't know, maybe we can have listeners that's interacting or asking us.
I would love, even if we're not live and having interactive listeners, I'd love to have listeners
leave comments.
Email the show. Like we would love to hear other people's stories. If similar to us, if you found a half sibling or even a full sibling down the road that you never knew and y'all met and how that worked out, or if you didn't meet and how that worked out, just tell us your stories if you think,
because even our story, unique as it is, has different directions and family members not wanting to meet family members, and you know what I mean, and not mentioning any names. But that's happens, and I'm sure that has happened. With other people.
I remember not long after we met. I mean, probably within that first year, Oprah Winfrey had a half sister that come out.
Yep.
You know, and she did a big show about it, and they were all
Damn, I wish you could have been Oprah.
I know.
Why couldn't I have been related to Oprah? You imagine all the shit she would have bought me finding her baby sister.
Well,
she might have bought me a house. Or
she gotten you your own show.
That's right. I would have to share it with anybody.
I never saw. I read about, you know, the sister coming out and Oprah acknowledging her, and it was all lovey-dovey, and they had the show. But I wonder if off the show, if it was like, okay, you've had your 15 minutes. Now.
Here's your check.
Here's your check. Now.
That's fine with me.
Right.
Did you want to write me a check?
Right. Oh, I can write you a check. I just don't think you're going to be able to cash it. I can write you a big old check. It's just not going to do you
We'll just frame it.
Just frame it.
For later. Yeah.
$1 billion.
Just in case.
Oprah could probably write $1 billion check.
And still have money.
Yes. and not be any of the worse off for it.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So, Oprah, if you're listening, I mean, we've been where you are. So
I may be related to you also. We don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Our dad.
I mean, he's
he's
like a tomcat.
It'd be great to find out from, you know, listeners as we grow nationally and this becomes, you know, really big. It'd be great to find out from listeners. We're related to you too.
It's like, shut up.
Unless you got money. Then you can talk all you want.
Paperwork.
We need bank account. We don't need your info. Just show us the balances.
Yeah, the balances.
What car you drive, because we don't want no scrub, you know, Volkswagen Passat drivers.
I can get that on my own.
I kid. I don't care what you drive.
We love Volkswagen.
If you're really, we do. We love Volkswagen. We love Kia.
We love it all.
Any vehicle that's brand new and got a lot of, you know, doodads and yaws in the cockpit. I love. I've never been a muscle car person. I don't care how fast the car goes.
Right.
You know, as long as it's got enough power that I can drive on the interstate safely.
But you love the gadgets.
I love the
things.
gadgets. I love the consoles that you're supposed to be driving, but you're pushing buttons. Going, I can't believe it does this.
Yeah,
you know, that's always the fun thing. You know, whoops, sorry.
Sidetrack.
My bad.
Yeah.
But so I'd love to hear from our listeners.
Yeah.
There must be thousands by now.
Oh God.
We've been doing this for 15, 20 minutes now. So
wow, it seems like we've been doing it longer. I'm sweating like we've done it longer.
One of the big things that I like to do, or that I've thought about that I would like to do with this show, is talking about songs, because we always trade songs back and forth that you've heard and you want me to hear them, or that I've heard and want you to hear them, and we talk about them. And sometimes we're both like, yes, that's such a great song.
Right.
And sometimes we're both like, eh. And then sometimes one of us really digs the song and the other is kind of like, really?
Yeah, and then that's shocking. Is it ever shocking to you? Like, you just think, I'm really going to like it. And sing.
When I sent you that song from Ex-Ambassador that featured Kay Flay and grandson, called Zen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, I just love the groove of this. And I'm not big into rap songs, but some of the rap is okay. I like it. And this just had a flow to it that I really liked. And I sent it to you, and I think your first response was, it's good, but damn, it's long.
It was long.
It's not really that long.
It seemed, maybe because I really didn't like it. That is going to be my key when I say it's long.
But I don't
really like it.
I am one of those. I have a lot of, a really wide variety of song types that I like. I like bluegrass, country, hard rock. I'm not real
techno.
big into metal. I'm not really that much into techno.
Okay.
It's like, sometimes it's got a good groove and it's like, okay, all right, now on to the next song. Let's hear something else. But yeah, rock and roll, alternative. Kay Flay is, I don't know where she would be categorized. Just pop, I guess.
Somebody will know.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell us.
Yeah. If you hear us say something wrong,
yes.
or we're like, I don't know, and you know the answer, tell us. Somebody else probably will have, and I'm, kind of obsessive too, so I'll go and look it up later and be like, oh, I should have known that. But go ahead and tell us anyway, and we'll read.
We'll get more professional.
Yeah, we'll.
Or we won't.
I don't know. We need that fact checker.
Yeah.
In that stuff. So.
Definitely.
But as you can tell, dear listeners, as you can tell, we are not reading from a script on this. We have a.
Maybe we should, but we're not.
That would take away a lot.
It would.
And a lot of the fun. And if we never get any listeners, as long as we're having fun, you and I are having fun doing this, I'll keep doing it, and we'll post it, and be like, ooh, 2 people listen to it.
Yay!
Yeah. And they haven't made any comments, and I haven't.
And they're from Australia.
And there's no indication that they've listened to anything else that we've done. They've just listened to the one, but maybe they liked it.
Maybe.
So much that they just felt like they couldn't take it.
They added it to their playlist. To the faves.
But anyway, so we like to talk about songs, and this week, one of the songs that came out recently is the so-called new Beatles song that called Now and Then. And I don't know if you know the history of that. Of course you don't.
Of course I don't, but I'm also not a huge Beatles fan like
understood.
You are.
Yeah, I'm a really big Beatles fan. Really all of the 60s music, but Beatles is right up there. They're my all-time favorite band. And so this was a song that John Lennon had done demos in the 70s, and that was after the Beatles had broken up. So this was demos that he had made in the 70s, and some of these demos were what made his last album, Double Fantasy, that came out just a few months before he was murdered. But there was a lot of demos that didn't make it on there, and that he didn't have time, because of his untimely murderification, he didn't have time to go any further with.
Right.
And in 95, the remaining Beatles, because George was still alive, Paul, George, and Ringo, went in with some of those demos and made recordings, which at that time were said to be, they're about as close to Beatles songs as it gets anymore, because John's gone. They're not going to get together anymore. But they did Real Love and doggone it, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this one. Real Love and Free as a Bird. those were two songs that he had enough on the demo that they were able to go in and add their parts, and Paul did, wrote a few more lines for them, and the Beatles were always famous for their harmonizations, so they were able to do some harmonizations around John's lyrics. Now and Then was one that they also worked on, and George had done some parts, and they had worked on it, but the recording was really bad, and they couldn't get John's voice off of it in a way that was good enough for them to put on the record. It would have just been, really, it just wouldn't have worked out. And so for years they thought, well, that's just one that we'll never be able to do. But in 2022, somebody, again, I'd have to look this information up, but somebody was able to use a different technique to get John's voice off of that bad recording and make it more full. Mm-hmm. So I wanted you to listen to it so we could discuss it, but you told me
I forgot.
You forgot.
I needed a reminder.
Forgot, quote,
yeah.
Unquote.
I did forget. Really did. Until the ride up here, and I was like, oh, crap.
Well, so I've got it queued up, and we can't play it on the podcast. But
right.
I thought we'd pause the podcast just for a second. For the listeners, it'll be instantaneous.
Right.
We'll pause the podcast, listen to the song, and then come back and discuss it, if that's okay with you.
That'd be good.
All right, so listeners, hang tight. We'll be right back. Having listened to Now and Then by ostensibly the Beatles.
Right.
Again, it's a John Lennon song. And I think, as somebody who's very familiar with the Beatles and their solo careers, that's very much a John Lennon song.
I was going to say the same thing. And I'm not that big a fan, but I was like, that was very John Lennon.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
It's a good song.
Yeah. It wasn't extraordinary, but it's like, okay, not. It's what I expected.
It's more it's more how it come about that makes it extraordinary. Mm-hmm. It's more about, there actually is George Harrison guitar on it. Mm-hmm. And then Paul and Ringo did some additional parts here just, within the last year. It's extraordinary because of what happened to make the song come out. The song itself is okay. Yeah. But if I'm queuing up a bunch of Beatles songs just to listen to on my drive back and forth to work, this isn't one that I'm going to be thinking, man, when is that song coming out? Right. It's not part of it's part of the Beatle lore now, I guess, but it's not a Beatles song in my opinion. But the video it's incredible watching some of the footage that they put in the video.
Yeah, it's worth really watching that. Yeah, the way they cut it and put it together.
And it's not like it's a shitty song by any means.
No,
it's a good song. Just
it's just like, okay, I expect this. This is a John Lennon song. I can tell it's a John Lennon song. Yeah. A solo.
And so I've heard some people say, it's because of the lyrics of it, which I'm not going to go into the lyrics now. If you, dear listener, are really interested, go listen to the song. You'll probably like it. If you like the Beatles, if you like the solo stuff, you'll probably like the song. But I'm not going to go into the lyrics. But I've heard people say that, it's obvious that John was writing this song to Paul, about missing their interaction together, and that's possible, but he was doing these demos around the time when he and Yoko were having problems, and Yoko said, you need to go out on your own and take this luscious young woman with you, May, whatever her name was, and just get all this stuff out of your system, just go out there and do all these things. So I kind of feel like the song might have been written during that time, and it was actually telling Yoko, I miss you, I love you, and I want us to get back together. I feel like that's a more likely interpretation.
I agree.
But if he had lived, I still feel like he and Paul probably would have worked on something together if he had lived. They had mended their friendship. They had a really bad breakup when the band broke up, and there's a lot of bad blood that only people who really love each other can have. But they had talked. They'd even hung out together at times. So probably they would have worked on something. And maybe they would have done something with the four of them, would have gotten back together and probably put out some half-ass sounding record that would have sold millions anyway, because everybody would have been like, ooh, it's the Beatles again.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rolling Stones just released their first new album in decades, and I listened to it just yesterday while I was at work. I had it playing on the background while I was working.
How was it?
Not bad.
Okay.
I mean, it's better than I would have thought 80-year-old farts would have been doing, you know, and
yeah.
You know, Mick Jagger's still got that very recognizable twang, nasally voice, and you can definitely hear Keith
Richards.
Thank you. Keith. Oh my God, you told me something musical.
Wow.
But Keith Richards' guitar work is as impressive as ever. The songs were good. I'm not going to say they were great. I didn't hear any songs that I thought, well, that's definitely got to get radio play. Although undoubtedly there will be some singles released from it. But
sure.
You know, they were good. They were better, like I said, better than I would have thought. So, you know, worth listening to. Probably won't be in my normal rotation, but you know, is worth listening to.
Cool.
So.
Okay.
Well, we've got people who are wanting to go to dinner. I think.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
I'm
starving.
Too. You're always starving.
I know, and I've been saving up for this today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had a salad for lunch, so that you know, we wouldn't be over full from lunch and get there and be like,
yeah.
I don't know what I want. You know, now it'll be like, I don't know what I want.
Exactly. Give it all.
Just bring bread or something.
Something.
So, all right. Well, I think I think this has been a pretty successful first episode. I'll do some editing just to, you know, make sure that the sound levels are correct and that any too long a pauses.
Are you cutting me out of these? I should hear what the cuts sound like.
Don't worry
I'm wondering.
Just trust me. Just trust me.
I'm showing up and I'm like, I'm going to be like, when I get hear it on the radio, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not even. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's great. That's all you're going to hear me say. You're wonderful, Rob. You've cut it and spliced it together. Where it's all about you.
Now I've got that recorded.
Damn it, I just sabotaged myself.
I could cut out all of the rest of this and just put You're Wonderful, Rob every 2 minutes.
Everybody would love that.
Yeah,
Number one podcast.
I don't think you have to worry about me cutting you out, because otherwise it's just me talking as if I'm talking to somebody, but there's nobody there. And plus, since we're both using the same mic and it's all on the same track, it'd be... I mean, I'm sure there's somebody who could do it, but I don't have that talent. So, So
not yet.
You're hearing it all, people, except for the awkward pauses, which I don't think there were that many.
No, not too bad. You'll get better.
Undoubtedly. All right, so that's the end of the first episode, and if I can get around to recording some good finger picking music, then we'll have an outro right about now.
And give me that tambourine.